I'm sort of a lucky person, really. People think I'm lucky.
Well, that's a way of describing it when you don't know about law of attraction, isn't it?
Right.
When you know about law of attraction, then you know it's not luck, it's creating.
Exactly.
Esther uses that word a lot with people who don't understand. As they see things go well, she just smiles and says, I'm lucky that way.
Yeah, it's true. I want to start just by saying thank you, because a lot of what you're saying makes sense. It puts a different perspective on what I've always known, and it makes it sound more normal. So
we are validating your nuttiness, yes?
Exactly.
You know, we want to insert something, if you don't mind, here, and that is, we like hearing from you. We've heard it a few times here, that you like coming into conscious, full-blown realization of things that you have felt before. Something really wonderful about being able to put the words around it and then to hold a thought and watch the universe respond to it in this validating fashion. It's so satisfying. But we want to acknowledge that together, we have taken thought beyond that which has been before. In other words, there is plenty of catching up with what you knew, but you didn't come here into this body to catch up with what you knew. You came here to expand the universe, and we've done a good deal of that here today.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's part of what my question is. You tend to do this, don't you? The questions were about surreal experiences, because I have a lot of them, and I don't really. They feel like very different mindsets that sort of work in different places, and I don't really know what they are.
For example,
the first one is déjà vus. Lots of people have déjà vus, and I have kind of extended déjà vus where...
Well, let us tell you what it is. You're really going to like this. So you get it. You've been hearing us all day, and we know you get it, that life has caused you to create a vibrational future, which under the right vibrational circumstances will not only be a vibrational future, it will be a manifestational future. So what déjà vu is a keen enough awareness to the vibration that you've put there. In other words, you've already glimpsed into what's in your vibrational escrow.
Okay.
You've been there vibrationally, and while you couldn't interpret it enough that it was tangible as you glimpsed it, when you walked forward in time into it, you recognized it when you got there.
Exactly.
Don't you love that? Don't you love knowing? In other words, doesn't that déjà vu, and all of you have experienced it, doesn't that feeling of déjà vu validate that it was there before? Don't you love knowing that at some level you know all of the wonderful things that are coming?
Right.
Yes.
I'll just give you the example, quite a fun one. I bought a car a number of years ago, an old Mini, the old style Minis. And when I was buying the car, I sort of almost felt like I was in a hypnotic space where I knew what this person was going to say. I was in this shop and I knew what he was going to say. Then I knew what I was going to say. And I just I kind of relaxed into it, and I wasn't thinking, I was just sort of there. And it felt really surreal. It felt really sort of deep, and inside I was very calm.
You were seeing your world through the eyes of Source. You had tapped into the fullness of who you are, into the fullness of that which you are, who knows everything, who can anticipate everything. Can you imagine what it would be like to dance through life under those conditions?
Exactly. Well, what's funny about that whole story was that was a very significant moment, because a couple of years later, I went to a party, and this friend of mine was going away, and she sat me next to someone who had the same car, thinking that we had something to talk about, and that's my wife. So that moment of actually buying the car was in some way significant.
Connected. It had something to do with the other, yes.
Exactly.
It was a sort of touchstone along the way.
Exactly.
And what you're describing here, and we love hearing the specifics of your words, because we've been talking theoretically all day as we throw our arms and talk about this vortex and this vibrational escrow. And what you are demonstrating here through your life experience is that all of that stuff that we've been talking about is a reality that can be recognized. Now, we want you to realize, you're really going to like this, that while it is delicious to vividly have those surreal experiences. We'd rather you called them perfectly normal than setting them apart in that way. But as you recognize that you've had that surreal experience, we would like to submit to you that positive emotion is the same sort of indicator. That if you were just following your bliss, if you were just following the trail of good feeling emotions, you would be led right into all of those rendezvous also. And that as you follow your bliss, as you reach for those good feeling emotions, as you lean in the direction of them, more and more you're going to have those vivid advanced announcements. You just get to the place where you don't question where you're going. Someone would say, "Why are you going there?" And you say, as someone told us earlier, "I have no idea. I just know I'm going." In other words, don't ask me to justify it. I can just feel that I'm going there because there's something there for me. And I don't have to define it or defend it. I know it vibrationally, and I've come to trust my vibration because I know that good means good. That's the screwiest thing that's happened to so many of you. You have a really good emotion and you say, "Oh, I might be in trouble. Anything that feels this good is probably bad for me in some way."
I have two more sort of surreal experiences, and if you can sort of bring some light to why they're so different. I'm a doctor and neurologist, and I've taught other doctors clinical reasoning, so how they think in terms of figuring out what the problem is. And in fact, I really like your views on health and wellness, focusing on the wellness, because I totally agree with everything you say, and it's completely true, and I can justify it neurologically as well. And I do it in my seminars as well. But anyway, the point is that sometimes when I'm lecturing, I get into this space. I know what I want to say as a teacher, but I get into this space where I kind of step out of myself almost. It's like I'm watching myself giving a lecture, and then it's like almost like there's two or three of me or something. I don't really know quite how to explain it, but it's sort of like
Well, you're doing what Esther is doing.
Sorry?
You're doing what Esther is doing. In other words, you're tapping into that broader perspective and going beyond even the knowledge or the sequence of knowledge that you hold and you're tapping into that vibrational escrow again.
Yeah, exactly. Because new things come and it's like it's kind of coming through.
Inspiration.
Okay, cool. All right then, thanks. The last one is when I was finishing my schooling, I was asking lots of questions about what illness is and sort of digging down and realizing that these sort of issues are some, you can sort of follow a course, and some things in the wrist is connected to the shoulder, connected to this, and then you can keep digging and digging and digging, and then things become less physical and things become, you could say, energetic or whatnots. But the deeper I was sort of going with this questioning, the more I realized the issues just started to disappear, and I was really clearly seeing the wellness. So literally just being with patients, I was just focusing on the wellness. And
when they are very lucky.
Yeah. And but the first time that this happened, I went into this space where I stopped thinking so much. I was just being in this space.
So you were still thinking, you were just thinking thoughts that were unidentifiable through your current format. Because thinking and vibrating are the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. There weren't words. I was just, exactly. And the other thing that was really fascinating about that space was that the immediacy of the way that things came into my life, I only had to sort of slightly feel a little hungry and something would be there. Or I'd only had to feel even the smallest bits of desires, and everything was just happening.
Well, we've been talking about that, haven't we? That a pure thought, you see, you don't have to have a big desire to make it manifest. You just have to have a non-resisted desire. That's why little things manifest more easily for most. They don't challenge it. But the things that you want the most, you've thought about more, and you've usually thought about it from the place of not having it. It's supposed to be that way for you. You're not supposed to struggle over your desires. You're supposed to just want it. When you ask, it is given.
Exactly.
Do you notice that? Begin to find a way to express this sentiment, because we know you know it. And as you reach from your platform of profession and status and respect, you will be heard in a more powerful way. We've been saying to doctors and scientists for a while, when you reach for the vibrational cause of something, rather than the cure, you'll really have something.
Exactly.
And so,
Exactly.
at the heart of every disease, no matter how severe or minor it is vibrational disparity that is so easy to clean up. It is mind-boggling. And the work, the goal for those like you and those like us is to pave a path of understanding that leads people from a place of non-belief to belief about the power of their own mind.
Exactly.
And so, from your place of knowing the intelligence of the body and knowing its propensity for wellness, and from your place of refusing to put a lot of stock in the temporary illness and your obsession with the potential wellness, you have so much more power of influence. But it's interesting because the people who are most ready for you are the ones who need you the least.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who need you the most are the ones that are least ready to hear it because they've been practicing the other.
Exactly.
And so, finding ways to explain to them what you know.
Right.
You go a long way when you know it.
Yeah.
That you can get more and more and more clever at finding ways to help them to know it. And with every success you have one more story to tell and one more story to tell. If we were standing in your physical shoes and we had one small evidence of what we are talking about, we would repeat it and 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 repeat it. Well, we do, don't we? Until it begins to sound normal.
Exactly.
You say.
Exactly. I have a very funny example of that. This past Thursday, I was 20 minutes late. I'm usually pretty good about being on time, but I think the universe arranged this that I was 20 minutes late, and our next new patient was sitting in the waiting room. And as soon as I came into the reception area, he started stammering about, "Oh, I can't believe he's kept me waiting for 20 minutes." And he knew it was me who was going to be seeing him. And he just got up and left. And my receptionist looked at me and said, "Should we go get him?" And I said, "No, he's just not ready." And I wish the best for him, and I hope he come back. And
it's interesting that he was. It's interesting that he was so out of source that he could not have rendezvoused with you. He would not have had much to do with you. You would not have been able to help him much. And this was his way of letting you off easy, in a sense.
Exactly.
But it's interesting that he waited so that he could beat you up. He could have left before you got there. He could have insulted your receptionist instead.
I did that as well.
But he waited specifically so that he could give it to you, you see.
Right.
And so, which is just evidence, as you say, that he was not ready. So now, here's an interesting thing, and let's play with this just briefly. So, you had that experience with him, and it's nice. We don't feel you feeling strong defensiveness about it. In fact, you did something that is very healthy. You said it worked out for the best, and that's part of that déjà vu. In other words, you recognize that it worked out for the best. But nevertheless, you saw someone there where you actually were privy to the evidence of the vibrational discord that is the reason for the disease that exists within this person. So when he does come back, you've got an inside track.
Definitely.
In other words, because often they present themselves, it's really interesting when you ask someone straight up what they might think is the reason for their vibrational discord. Often people will argue and say, "I have no vibrational discord, I'm only sick."